And welcome to the Survivor Girl podcast, you guys. Had a couple technical difficulties on the YouTube Survivor Girl podcast page, so you're joining us here via the Don't Make This Weird page tonight. And I am here. My name is Heather. I am here with my lovely co-host, Becky Huey.
Hey, everybody.
So thank you guys for tuning in and joining us, even though this is not the correct channel, but that's how we do that around here. And well, we're just glad that you're here to join us tonight. So basically what the Survivor Girl podcast is all about is we are here to talk about our origin stories.
Yes.
And we have come a long way to where we're at as survivors. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And we're also going to talk about getting some guests, or that we have a lineup actually of some guests.
We actually have a lineup, yes.
Of other people that have survived and are thriving and are looking to tell their story as well. We already have some stuff going on in the chat. We got Tony, our producer, actually joining us in the chat. Sup, Survivor Girls? Much love and respect. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
So we pretty much are just looking into sharing our stories, our origin story, and throughout this whole thing, we want to kind of nominate a survivalist, someone who's thriving and surviving, because we've gone through a lot, and both of us actually have gone through a lot.
Yes, we have.
And we're here to tell a little bit about that, because I kept on hearing, hey, I think you need to speak up and tell where you come from. What's your story? I mean, I've already been on the Don't Make This Weird podcast. Obviously, we're using that platform again, tonight. So some of you might recognize me from that. But about 6 years ago, I met Becky.
Yes.
And I met her actually at the gym here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very inspired by her, but and it was just because when I walked in, I was like, wow, she is busting her butt. I want to get up there and start, working through what I'm going through. And then we became friends.
Yes.
And we learned that in the gym that we could stay quiet and not talk to each other, but still, become friends through pushing through and working out.
And kind of know what we're going through.
Exactly. So, but I wanted to, I guess let's start with a little bit about your story.
Actually, I think we should start with a disclaimer first.
Okay.
Heather and I are not doctors. We are not here to prescribe, to treat, or in any way diagnose any issues you may be going through. We just want to share what we're dealing with and how we have overcome it.
That's a really good disclaimer, actually. I'm glad that you thought about that, because I really didn't, to be honest. I was just thinking, well, I'll talk about what's going on, what's happened. And we definitely do not have a PhD in anything or are psychologists in any way. But we feel that us being just who we are and being real and the things that we've gone through might be able to help others get through it. So
inspire and move on. So
exactly.
Little bit about myself. I am an Army brat and have been through many moves, and I've seen pretty much all of the world. But when I was 15, we came and settled in Cairo, and I started my sophomore year in Cairo High School. Got to know just about everybody in my graduating class, and it was a class of about 200. And in the junior year, we lost one of our classmates to a car accident.
Okay.
It was on State Street, and it was a rough time for everybody because we didn't think at 18 that we would lose anyone. We were pretty much invincible.
I know. I was going to say, at that age, we all kind of probably thought that we were invincible and things
Yeah.
weren't going to
Yeah.
happen. We're going to get older and,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. And then in the summer between junior and senior year, we lost another classmate to a car accident. And, you know, we all moved on and went through, and we thought that the curse was over with. But unfortunately, in February of 1995, there was one more car accident, and I was involved in that one.
Oh.
Yeah, it was rough. I was the driver of the car, and it was a horrible snowy day, and we lost control, hit a tree. There was 3 of us in the car, and I would say I was probably the worst off because my friend Sadie, who was sitting in the passenger seat, died instantly. So she didn't feel any pain. Heather, who was in the back seat, had a concussion, ended up getting stitches, but I was literally pinned in the car.
Wow.
Broke my legs in 13 spots. Didn't even know if I was going to ever be able to walk again. And had some other minor injuries. And when I say minor, they weren't really that minor. They were pretty major because I had a bruised heart and bruised lung.
Wow.
And a laceration on my chest from the seatbelt. But the seatbelt saved my life because it held me in spot so that I didn't get a head injury.
Yeah.
But it was rough. I really don't remember anything about the accident, but I can tell you that I remember the voice of the first responder that was with me, held my hand, and tried to keep me from going into shock.
Yeah.
And she has become a dear friend. So I was blessed with her. She says that she's not a hero, but in my eyes, she is.
Because she was there with you that day, and on you know,
she was there at my worst possible day. So,
and that, how many years ago again was that?
24
years. And I know that I remember when we first started talking, how you said that they did not expect you to walk, and you just said that here. But now you do.
I do.
But you worked really hard to get to that point.
Extremely hard.
Yeah. And how long did that take you after all of that happened?
With physical therapy and everything like that, it was about 2 years.
Yeah.
The initial night of the accident, I was in surgery for 13 hours. And it was like stringing beads to put my lower right leg back together.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And there were a couple of times when I actually lost the fight, but they were able to bring me back.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still here, and you are still here, and you've learned so many things over these years.
I have.
Because you probably, at one point, probably felt like giving up.
I did. I was very thankful for my father, who told me that I could do anything that I put my mind to. He thought it was just lip service, but that actually was what got me through the whole entire situation. Doctors came and said, well, we don't know if she's going to lose her leg. We don't know if she's ever going to be able to walk again. I had a doctor who had a horrible bedside manner and pretty much told me, no, you're never going to walk again. You're never going to be able to run a race. And my parents, hearing all of this, knew that there was one thing that you don't do. You never tell Becky she can't do anything.
Right.
Or she can't do it.
Yeah.
Because she'll prove you wrong every time.
Yeah.
So
you've done a couple 5Ks even.
We have. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. I know I've done one with you, and you did another one with your dad, and
and then I've done 2 with my aunt. Yep. So but that we did one with her as well. So
yeah, that was the color run. That was amazing.
Yes, it was. So yeah, I was dealt a bad blow, and I just decided that, okay, I could take this one of 2 ways. I can either be bitter about it and not go on. And I have to say that one of the hardest things to deal with was the fact that Mom and Dad wanted me to get up, be able to take care of myself. So they would purposefully just say, okay, she's going to have to get up and be able to take care of herself. So she's kind of thirsty right now. She's either going to get up and get herself a drink, or she's going to sit there and remain thirsty.
Wow. So that probably at that point in time, you were feeling like they were
Pissed me
after
off.
you
Out to get you. Pissed me off. Yes.
Yeah, but
pissed me off. But it was just the right dose of medicine I needed to actually get up and take care of myself.
Yeah.
So,
and I can only imagine like how they were feeling at the time with everything going on and trying to stay strong for you to see that you could still overcome it. And and I think I recall seeing pictures of you actually getting up and walking across the stage to be able to get your diploma.
Yes.
After all of that.
At that point in time, it was in June, I was able to actually get up out of the wheelchair, and I could navigate with crutches.
Mm-hmm.
But because it was graduation and things were just emotional
right.
I was using a walker to receive my diploma, but got a standing ovation, not only from everybody in the stadium, but all of my classmates. And just because I was upright.
Right. And you weren't giving up.
And I wasn't giving up. So.
And you still are that way. You still are that way. And that is why when I started thinking about doing this podcast, because I kept hearing to, you need to tell your story. How about writing a book? How about this? But I really got really comfortable behind the mic after doing 87 episodes on the Don't Make This Weird podcast. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we talk about it? Why don't we just have a conversation about it? Why don't we bring other people into the studio and have them talk about it? Because I don't think that people talk about things enough, especially these stories where you are brought right down to the ground and you get right back up. You don't get right back up, but you get up from it. And I think being able to discuss this and have these conversations with people and bringing other people in to tell their story, if it reaches just one person, I think that this is a success.
Exactly.
And this is the reason why we're doing this. And this is the reason why we will continue to do the podcast, because when you're at ground zero, you don't really realize where you're going to go from there. And right now, I mean, you said 21 years and
24 years,
24 years. Sorry. Yep. And I'm 6 years out from my 5 years out from my experience. And you don't realize where you're going to go from once that whole thing has happened and you get past it. I mean, are there days that are struggle still? Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. There's always going to be those days that are going to be struggles. But when you get down to it and you start thinking about how far that you have come, it's really where, when you start thinking, okay, all right, what else am I going to get through? What else can I do? And you don't want to ask too many of those questions because you don't want added things on. But
yeah, and I like to say that I have survived 100% of my worst days.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we both know that I'm not really comfortable behind the mic yet, but we're getting there.
But that's okay, because after I did I did a live video on Facebook about how far I've come from my weight loss journey and stuff with my surgery. And on that actual live video, I said that I was thinking about doing this podcast, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to, like to look at having a co-host. And I don't even think I was done with my video when you started like dinging in on my phone about, yeah, I'd like to try that.
Yeah. I said I wanted to try out, and you were like, okay.
Might as well. I mean, I couldn't think of anybody else. Like I said, you inspired me from the very beginning. And I know, I don't want to get too mushy here, but, I know that there's been times when you've told me, well, you inspire me too.
Yes.
And your favorite thing to tell me, will you just take a compliment?
Yes.
Can you just take a compliment? And I'm working on that. I'm working on compliments, and I'm also working on letting it go and letting people help. That is a very hard thing to do.
It really is.
It is. And from experiencing what you've gone through and getting up and doing things, it's hard to let people help.
It really is. It's extremely hard to even let them help when they say, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What can I do to help you succeed in what you need to do?
And I think that we miss out on those opportunities when we're too closed, we're too closed up, because I know I've missed out on a lot of opportunities by not allowing people to help me. And that's something that I'm really learning now. So
yes.
And in the chat, we've got Jeremy Gibbs joining us. He says, much love, Survivor girls. Thanks, Jeremy. We're glad that you're tuning in. I was going to give a shout out to another friend who is named Rebecca. Rebecca Johnson listening in as well tonight. She's going through some stuff right now, and I wanted to let her know that we are here. We're thinking of her and sending online virtual hugs. Tony says, take a compliment, Heather. Okay. All right. I'm taking one. Thank you. Thank you. Is that what I say? Thank you.
That's what you say. Thank you.
So more stuff with, though, on your experience of what you've gone through. What is something that you have brought that you could give to somebody or tell somebody that might be going through the same thing that you're going through or have gone through?
Don't give up.
Yeah. I mean, that's good advice.
Yeah. Don't give up. And you have the choice. You have the choice of allowing whatever you're going through to make you better. You have the choice of letting it make you bitter. And nobody wants somebody bitter all the time. So let's go with being better.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you there. I was thinking too, when I was going through my situation of not being the victim.
Yes.
Not playing the victim, because so many times we can allow ourselves to do that. And it's easy to do. It's easy to be like, why me? Why this? Why?
Right. Exactly.
It's super easy to do that. And I mean, there was times when I found myself trying to do that. And it was like, no, that's not you. You're not the victim. Yes, you've gone through a storm. Yes, you've gone through some shit. But you have the choice, like you said. You have that choice to be able to make life better, and the lessons that you learn from these things. I think that's another thing that's super important, is the lesson that you learn from some of the worst days that you could possibly have.
And it's very easy to have your faith rocked too.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't at one point in time blamed God for their situation?
Yeah.
And it really isn't God's fault. I mean, he gave everyone free will.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, like you said, it's easy. It's easy to sit there and go, why me?
Why me? Or why did you do this? Or
right. But it's really that lesson.
It is.
That is one of the harder things. One of the hard lessons to learn is the lesson that you are learning from these things that happen to you. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of things that you could allow to get into your head and let you to give up. But
the pain alone would have been enough to just give up. But you push through.
And with something like that, there's the situation of grieving as well. I'm sure that you grieved some of the losses of going through surviving and being able to get back up and rebuild yourself.
Exactly. One of the things I find is the funniest is this where this white girl can't jump.
Oh, jeez.
I lost the ability. I really do not know how to jump, and I don't think my legs are strong enough to
be able to do so.
To be able to do that. And I have the problem of not actually having any feeling on my left foot. So even if I could jump, I would probably fall over because I can't
feel that.
I can't feel it. I don't know that I'm standing.
So that would be a bad juju to do that. Don't jump.
No jumping, no skipping. We'll just keep the 2 feet on the ground, 1 foot in front of the other.
But through finding out that stuff, though, like I said, rebuilding yourself, what is something, though, that you found that you really couldn't do before, but you were able to do after?
Talk to people about what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody were to look at me, they would see that there's just something not right with my legs.
Right.
I have the right leg that's bigger than the left. Right. And it's due to all of the damage that was caused to my lymph nodes during the car accident. So one of the things I do is when I hear a little child questioning, Mom, why is her leg like that? I will always go over to the child and explain to him what's going on and just kind of look at the mom and say, it's okay.
Right.
They're curious.
I think that happens a lot too when kids do. They are. You're right. They're curious. They have questions.
And how else are they going to learn?
Try to hush them and not,
Exactly.
But I remember you telling me a story not too long ago about a lady that said that she was sorry for you. And how did you react to that?
Why are you sorry for me? I'm not sorry for myself.
Right.
Yeah. And she is actually going through lymphedema as well in her legs. But I have a really severe case. So,
right.
So
she felt that it was, that she had to tell you that she was sorry.
Exactly.
But, and I think in those cases that people just don't realize, or they're so stuck in feeling sorry for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really am inspired by you as well. Cause you don't feel sorry for yourself. You don't give up.
I have my days.
You push through. Oh, I mean,
everybody has their days.
Everybody has their days. But from what I know, I don't see you give up. There's no quit.
I was going to say that's because I don't people on my bad days.
Right. Oh, Tony is asking, what is lymphedema?
Okay. Lymphedema is essentially an issue with the normal flow of your lymphatic system.
Okay.
It's pretty much like a clogged drain. So, if you take a shower and you lose your hair, it goes down the drain and it stops the flow, which backs up all of the fluid into the bathtub.
Okay.
Well, that's essentially what's going on is all of the fluid is backed up. It can't pump itself back out.
Okay, so then it just ends up like
so it pulls
up in your leg.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, and I guess I didn't really understand that myself. Like you had said, when a child asks questions, like when we first started hanging, I never asked. I never asked you anything because I wasn't so much as worried about finding out why. Mm-hmm. As to getting to know who you were.
Right.
And like I said, seeing we used to call it like the devil, that the one machine at the elliptical.
The elliptical.
And I see you up there like kicking ass on that thing, and I'm like, damn, that girl is like busting her ass here. But it did though. It really did inspire me, Mm-hmm. And at that time, that was before I was really going through any of the stuff that I went through. Mm-hmm. So, and we have a couple more people joining in. Sasha says, hello, beautiful girls. I'm here. Hey, Sasha.
Hey, Sasha.
And Megan said, hello. Sorry, I'm late. It's okay, Megan. We had to switch over to this platform for this episode. So next one, it will be fixed. It's just a little issue that was going on with YouTube. So we will be back on the Survivor Girl platform, and you guys will be able to have your subscriptions and everything go right to that when we are live.
That will be next week.
That will be the next one. Yeah. Our next show, who we also have Crystal LaFay joining us for the next one. I'm
excited to meet her.
Yeah, she is awesome. So we are looking forward to having her on to tell her story. So, but yeah, so we're talking about Becky's story. If you just joined in, she's given us a little bit about what's, how she's been surviving and thriving through everything, mm-hmm. and giving us a little bit of a backstory. So,
yep. Actually, there's a funny story that involves Megan. Yeah. I was in the burn unit when I was first in the hospital for 2 months or two weeks, and my parents, knowing how important family was, mm-hmm. they would smuggle Megan into the ICU at 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And Megan is your cousin, right?
Yes, she is. And then on my graduation day, she's coming up to my little wheelchair, and she's so afraid that she's going to touch my legs and kill me.
Oh, no.
And I'm just like, nope, that's not going to happen. And I just picked her up and I sat her on my lap, and she just kind of accepted things from there.
Yeah.
And just,
yeah, that's cool.
The bond was formed and solidified, and
yeah, she is very cool. She goes through some stuff on her, in her daily life as well.
Yes.
And I am looking forward for having her on the show to explain some of the stuff that's going on in her mm-hmm. life, to speak out and to share with others, so that the awareness is out there for what she's going through as well. And that's just basically what we want to do with this show. We want to be able to reach out to people, our listeners, to, mm-hmm. Just everybody, and
exactly,
be able to experience what they've gone through and how they are a survivor, how they have overcome, how they take on the day.
Everybody has a story.
Absolutely.
Everyone has a story.
And I guess maybe it might be time for me to share mine.
I think so.
All right. So, yeah, Megan said she was smuggled in and she wouldn't leave.
No, she wouldn't. It was kind of cute.
Aw. So, okay, I guess I can talk now about what's going on and what happened through my life, where I started to become a survivor. And so about almost 5 years ago, I Started out with having to get gallbladder surgery, and I was always sick. I couldn't figure out why. I was constantly feeling like I had the flu, and just things weren't right. I was working at Walmart as a stock and retail. I mean, I did everything at the store. And I've always been an overweight, bigger girl, and being able to keep up with all of that, I just figured I was just exhausted, and it was just issues from, having high blood pressure and diabetes and stuff. And I thought, all right, well, I'll just continue going to the doctor and figuring it out. Well, at the time, my doctor really wasn't figuring out anything. We did different tests and whatnot, and he said he did figure out that I had a blockage for my gallbladder, but he didn't do anything about it. He just said, "Oh, people live with this all the time."
That's odd.
I agree. So I switched over to another doctor, and she was like, "Okay, you need to get surgery on your gallbladder. It's 99% blocked." So, okay. And this was in May of 2014. And I said, okay. She's like, you're okay until you get to go in for the surgery. We're setting up everything for your insurance and whatnot. And I was constantly just feeling sick. So I went and got that done. I was fine. Everything was good. I was healing, and my mom started getting sick. And we couldn't figure out what was going on. She kind of figured she had the same thing. So she went in for testing. It wasn't like blocked like mine was. They said it was sludged up or whatever. And then she went in and had the surgery as well. So I started helping take care of her, and she's still not feeling good.
Right.
Whereas I started to, but I was tired. And so she had it done. And then about, I think, a week or so, it was a couple months actually, we had to take her in because she wasn't feeling well. And we found out that there was a lot more going on with her. And so we ended up going up to Cass City Hospital, and we were up there for a while. And I had a nurse come up to me and tell me that I had a long road ahead, that me and her had a long road ahead. And I kind of, when you get that feeling that something was seriously wrong.
In the pit of your stomach, yes.
In the pit of your stomach. Yep. And that's kind of where I was at. So we went home, and she had ended up going back into the hospital within the next couple of days. And we ended up getting shipped up to Saginaw to Covenant, which they were amazing there. I'm not going to say they weren't, but
yeah.
And for about a week or so while we were up there, we didn't know what was really all going on. Tests were being ran all the time. And then the doctor came in and told me and her that she had pancreatic cancer and that it was stage 4.
Wow.
Hardest thing to ever hear, especially when you're like a definite mama's girl.
Oh, yeah.
Like, best friends and everything. Pretty hard to hear. And she didn't quite grasp that it was terminal. And at that time, it was hard because I had to explain that to her. And I started, we went back home, and I was helping take care of her. And then I had gone in for some testing because I was still not feeling very good. Things were happening. I had an incident at the gym actually where I was trying to beat my, scores and stuff on that machine.
You gotta beat the devil.
I ended up like hemorrhaging, and I had no understanding as to why that was happening. And then I got a call a week after my mom was diagnosed that I had uterine cancer. So a week apart, and I was helping to be her caregiver and also talking to the cancer that's in my body going, "Don't move, please don't move, don't go anywhere." Because it had spread in hers, and I was terrified.
Yes.
And you were with me.
Yes, I was.
Becky went with me to my first initial appointment to find out what we were doing for it.
Worst appointment ever.
It was, because I found out then that the only way to find out how bad my cancer was for them to go in. And at that point in time, I didn't know. I didn't know. They told me I wasn't going to be able to have kids after the fact. A hysterectomy was going to be done, and all that stuff was going to happen. So we ended up getting an appointment to Ann Arbor. I ended up going in August, I think. No, I can't. When was it? No, yeah, it was August 18th I went in. And I get there, and awesome doctor. Absolutely adored her. She looked like a cartoon. She had like this really tall lady with a lab coat and those like black thick glasses. And she was super cool. She told me that I wouldn't be able to get in until September or so, and I was really nervous. I was scared, and I knew that we were only on limited time for my mom. We had 3 months. That's what we were given without chemo.
Wow.
And I was super scared, and she was scared for me, and it was one of those things. So the doctor left the room. My family was with me, and we started talking, and she came back in and she says, well, the lady I'm supposed to give surgery to tomorrow, I can't do the surgery. She's got a fever, and I can't do a surgery like that. So
she was too sick in order for her to operate.
Yeah, for her to be able to get the operation. So she asked me if I wanted the surgery. And of course I said, yeah, without even thinking. I was like, let's get it done. Let's do this. And it was funny because at that time I had met Tony. I had only known Tony for a little bit, our producer, our friend.
Yes.
My other co-host. I only had known him for just a little while. And so I had called and I was like, well, I'm not coming home. He's like, you're not coming home? I'm like, nope, got surgery tomorrow. So then I got off the phone with him and I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I'm not coming home. Well, why aren't you coming home? Well, I got a surgery tomorrow. Who does that? Like,
yeah, exactly. I remember getting the text that? And I'm like, okay.
I'm like, well, somebody's looking out for me, So we go through that. Ann Arbor was also equally amazing. I mean, it was.
I've heard great things about Ann Arbor.
There, they were very good. So I go in and the surgeon takes me back, and I had said something about my brother having a band, and at the time, him and his wife were playing in a band, Go Get Gone, and she's looking for it, trying to play it while we were in surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how cool she was. So unfortunately, we couldn't find it on there, but so get the surgery. My dad was there for me. Mom couldn't be there with her being sick. I told her, there's no way. So Dad was there with me, and my cousin Cindy and my family, everybody was beside me. And my uncle, my mom's side of the family, they're all dealing with, my mom being sick, and they're still there for me as well. And so surgery went, and and the next day or so, I'd sent my family home. I'm like, just go home, get some rest. I'm okay. I'm fine. So I'm at the hospital, and I'm by myself, and I'm not feeling pity for myself, but I'm all by myself.
Yes.
So I'm emotional. Surprise, surprise. So I'm emotional already this day, and here comes my nurse and the whole team. And everybody's surrounding the bed. And I'm just like, oh my God, what's going on? And she says, did you get your report back yet? Did anybody tell you anything? And I was like, no. And at this point, we still didn't know like if I had cancer or not, because they had to test the lymph nodes and everything. And she's like, well, you're cancer free. And I was just like bawled, my eyes. I couldn't stop. Like I couldn't stop crying because I was so scared. I was only 34 at the time, I was super scared. And so they told me I was cancer free, and that I could go and live my life, but I had to wait in the hospital. I had to, do my time there at the hospital. So
yes, they're very picky about doing your time, not letting you go.
So I mean, that was some of the best news. I was lucky. I didn't have to do chemo. I didn't have to do any kind of radiation. Throughout I did lose some hair from the trauma of everything.
Yeah.
But I was super lucky though that I didn't have to do any of that stuff. And I get asked that, people will ask if I had to, and no, I didn't have to. And my mom chose not to for her. She wanted to live the rest of her life out without being sick. And, at the time I didn't understand that.
Right.
I was upset, but when it comes to cancer and you have people dealing with that, you just kind of, even if you want to try to save them, you always, that's the first thought. If it's somebody that you love, the first thing you want to do is try to save them. And you want to give them all these options, and you want to tell them all these studies and all these different things that you found out and that you've done research on, and that, and that's kind of the worst thing that you could do for them, because ultimately they're going to make that decision for them.
It's their decision. Yeah.
You can't help it as a human and as loving and, as that kind of a person. You can't help that. You want to save them. but there's just sometimes you can't. And
Exactly.
the quality of the time that was spent after I got out of my own head of trying to fix my mom and save her, I just couldn't. That was just reality. And the time that we got to spend together was so much more important. And I'm thankful for that, because we had some funny times. We did some funny, we did a lot of really cool stuff together. And I'm glad, because if I would have continued on that mission to try to save her and try to make everything right with it, I would have missed out on that. So, I mean, that's something that I can give from the experience, is when you have somebody that's dealing with it, as much as you want to save them, please listen to them and what their wishes are. I know that's not an easy task. I swear, I know it's not. So, I mean, it's super hard, but so in all of that, I was off. Like, I had first called my job and told them when my mom was sick that I was going to be off, because to me at that time, that was number one. I had 3 months. I had 3 months with her. I wasn't gonna just
squander it.
No, I wasn't. So I took the time off.
At that point in time, work wasn't important. No. Mom was.
No, nothing else mattered at that point in time, other than my mom and healing. And that's what I did. And I'm not sorry about that at all. I did end up losing. Ultimately, I did end up losing my job. I did. They told me I'd ran out of time. I mean, there was a bunch of issues, and I'm not excited about that. I'm not happy about that situation. No. I don't think that they're great for being able to do that, because I put 11 years in and, kind of got the shaft there. But in the end, I ended up finding a way better place to work. I've ended up finding myself, and I ended up being able to do the things that I do now. And I had petitioned myself to never allow myself to work for a place like that again. To always do the things that make my soul happy, and just to live life. I mean, just live it out loud. And I think that's super important. And I don't want to see people go through tragedies to be able to make that decision.
Right. So what is one of your favorite memories that you wouldn't have had if you wouldn't have told your job to hit the road?
I'd have to say being able to work in the studio, being able to work on music. I mean, because all I did was I worked third shift.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I slept, I ate, I was depressed, and I went to work when I wasn't depressed. I mean, I really was in like this cycle, this vicious cycle, and I didn't know what it meant to believe in myself, honestly. So I'd have to say definitely working in the studio and doing these shows, these podcasts, and playing with the band for the Relay for Life as a celebration of another year cancer-free as like the most kick-ass thing I've ever done. So, I mean, there's a lot of awesome things. I work at Bronner's, and I absolutely love it. I mean, I wouldn't trade that. There's more to the origin stories that Becky and I have, and we're gonna continue those on other shows, and we're gonna switch up the topics and whatnot. But as far as everything with that, I learned how to believe in myself a lot more. I mean, when tragedy strikes, that's when we kind of start reevaluating everything.
It is, yes.
And I guess my challenge to people that are listening is maybe reevaluate before a tragedy happens. If you got that opportunity to trust your gut and your worth, try to look at that before anything like this happens. I mean, yes, I understand that things are going to come up, things are going to happen. And that's part of becoming strong, and that's part of becoming a survivor and thriving. But I definitely would challenge yourself to see what you can do. I mean, that book that you've been wanting to write, like, do it. The job that you can't stand, and there's another one that makes you happier, try for it, push for it. I mean, that's one thing you had spoke about your parents, and how they pushed you and stuff. Well, my dad has always had this thing. Since I was little, he'd always called me one track.
Yeah.
One track. And now Adam, my fiance, has adapted this one track. because I'd get something in my head and I'd have one track about this thing I got in my head, and that was it. And that's what I'm doing. And that's it.
That's it. Yes.
And once I get something in my head, that's what I'm doing. So I appreciate that. Like, now that I understand it, because when I was kid, I was just like, okay, that's funny. I don't know why you're calling me that. But now that I understand it, I'm like, he's not wrong.
Right.
He's really not wrong. So, I mean, I guess it's just the fact that don't give up. Don't give up on those dreams that you have.
Don't give up on the dreams. Don't give up on yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, because I've always gone this whole fact of when you go to bed at night, you may be going to bed next to your significant other and the person that you love, but you also are going to bed and you're what you got. I mean, yes, you have that other person, but you're what you got. So why not give yourself the best? Why not believe in yourself to do something that you want? Why do we shut ourselves down like that? Why do we not just go with it? Why do we let that fear just cripple us? You know, and I know that's part about being human. I get it. We grow up with learning fear. And I've heard this from other people. This isn't something that is coming from me. I've heard this from authors. One of my favorite, and I'm afraid to mention it because I guess YouTube is on a war strike right now. But Jen Sincero, you are a badass. This is her books. This is her, what she has puts out there. And a girl at work, her name is Bethany. She actually mentioned this to me. She's like, have you read You Are a Badass? And at one point, my little smart ass mouth wanted to say, I wrote the book, but I didn't. I was like, no, I haven't read it. But I'm going to check into it. And I did. I listened to it for free on YouTube. But if you got the money, support your author, pay for the book, get the audio, whatever. It is worth it. It is so worth it.
Yes,
great because I know you
told me about it, and I had
continue.
to. Yes, I had to listen to it, and then I went out and bought the copy because listening to it is one thing, but reading it and writing notes in the columns and all over the place is a totally different thing.
Having an actual legit book in your hand is one of my favorite things. But at work, when I'm working at Bronner's, I can listen to whatever, and while I'm painting ornaments, I'm able to do that. So
you're fortunate. You're fortunate to get to listen to and pin, but unfortunately, some of us have to listen to the customers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know that we both work there and we both have different, but I had a couple things. The chat is really blowing up and I appreciate all of you joining in.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Derek said you are an inspiration to us all. Tony said what he said. Tony said, thank you, Heather, for sharing your story. Both of you and Becky are total badasses. Stone Cottage Farms, hey, we love you. Mayville, preach it, girl. Farmer Chrissy, thanks, Chrissy. We're glad that you're joining us. And Jeremy says, never give up. Always challenge yourself to go beyond what you think you can do. And I agree with that.
Yes.
I totally agree with that. But first and foremost, the biggest thing that I had to learn about that, and I hate to put a button there, honestly, is you have to get out of your own way.
Yes.
You have got to get out of your own way. And that is a struggle that I have had throughout my life. And I know because Tony's laughing and pointing at the chat. So, Derek says Becky's my favorite. That's okay, Derek.
Aw, thank you, Derek.
That's okay. You guys have been friends for a long time, Derek. I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm new. That's cool.
Even though he's been dethroned for, cooking and stuff. But,
right.
That's a whole different story. Yes.
But yeah, for sure. You have got to get out of your own way to be able to get up. And I have to quote Jen Sincero. I do, because I absolutely adore what she stands for and what she's doing. In order to kick ass, you must first lift a foot. You guys, really, if you get a chance, take a look at the book.
Yes.
I mean, really. And I think at some point, hopefully, Becky and I will have some stuff out there.
Yes. Yes.
So
basically what you're saying is stop dreaming safe and just dream big, reach for those stars, because reaching for those stars, you're not going to get a handful of mud either.
if you're reaching up, you better not be getting
I would
much,
hope not.
But seriously, though, I mean, I know all of you that are listening right now have a dream of something. Something that you want to do, something that you keep on wanting, and you just feel like you're just not close enough to grabbing it. Step a little closer. I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, what are we scared of?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just get up and do it. Don't let tragedy make you move. Move before the tragedy makes you not able to.
Exactly.
I mean, really. So we're going to be doing some extra, some other things with this show, and we're going to keep going. We had a couple, like I said before, we had a little bit of technical difficulty in the beginning, but does that ever stop us? No.
Heck no.
No, it doesn't. We're going to continue going with this podcast, and we have other things in store, not just guests, but we have some other stuff in store that we are going to be putting up. We have Facebook, we have Instagram,
Snapchat,
Twitter. We kind of went kind of crazy with the social media business.
Yes,
I'm not a huge fan, but if you guys like it, please go ahead, join us, like us, follow us, even though that's creepy, but that's okay. Follow us, Snapchat us appropriately.
Yes.
Or not, whatever.
No, appropriately.
Okay. All right.
We do not want any Verizon in our wireless, Derek.
Yeah, no Verizon wireless, Derek. Let's see if there's some more things in the chat here. Becky paid me to say that. Jeremy says, absolutely. Megan says, I love her books. Stone Cottage Farms from Mayville. This is so true. You have got to get out of your own way. A friend gave me a fridge magnet that says no one can stop you but yourself. And it's very true. And also, P.S. Heather knew you were a badass, but didn't realize how much of one until now.
Wow.
There's the waterworks.
Don't even do it.
I mean, hey, I'm a person. I'm a human sometimes. Right. I'm a human being. I am a total emotional person. And anybody that's ever met me or knows me knows that. And I'm okay. And I'm not afraid to show that. I know there are a lot of people out there that are afraid to, but after going through what you go through,
right?
If you don't have emotion, then you're just dead inside.
Yes, but you know that if you start crying, I'm going to start crying, and then who's going to talk?
But I mean, it's just I'm better. I recovered. No, thanks, Chrissy. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. I'm so glad that you guys are joining us tonight. I mean, we have been ready for this show and like counting down the days.
Yes, we have.
And then when we got going and it wasn't working out, I was like, nope, why?
Not gonna get our
There's
goats.
Me questioning why. Right? Why is this not working out? Well, it did. It worked out. Everything's good.
Didn't get our goats.
I did not get my goats. That is my big thing now. So oh, okay. We got a couple different people with comments. Let's see. Derek, seriously though, this podcast will touch many lives. Thank you, Derek. I can't even talk now.
And you're the only one with the monitor, so
right. And then Sasha said what Chrissy said, and Bald Beaver Hunter says, "Hey, how are you doing? Glad you could join us."
Yes.
Welcome to the Survivor Girl podcast.
Yes. On the Don't Make It Weird platform for right now.
Right. So some of our listeners from the Don't Make This Weird might be crossing over, but hey, we're glad that you're joining us. We're looking into also doing some merchandise as well.
Yes.
Some t-shirts and some other cool things with the Survivor Girl podcast. And I Am a Survivor is going to be one of the tags on the, for our merchandise as well.
Yeah.
And we are going to be sharing those as soon as we possibly can. And, just we thank you for supporting us.
Keep looking at that Facebook page and all of the others because
there's going to be so many more things coming out. And we, like I said, listeners that are tuning in with us right now, or anybody that does catch this show, because it will be archived, let us know. We're looking for something to call nominating a badass, something different, because we don't really want to go with Jen Sincero's badass idea.
Yes, because it's hers.
So if you guys have something that you think would be a better fit for nomination for somebody, just let us know. Chime in.
Yes.
send us a private message, whatever.
Yes, I did create a button to send us a message on Facebook. So go ahead and click the button and send us a message with your idea.
Perfect. See, Becky's on it. We got an amazing team. I just want to thank all of our team that is working on this podcast and on our platform. You guys are rock stars. And with you guys, we are able to just continue moving forward.
And we couldn't do it without them. We would be lost.
So, Beaver Hunter said that he has subscribed, and thank you. Well, thank you for joining us and subscribing. We are going to be having our next one on April 14th with Crystal LaFay.
Yes.
You guys, the story that she has got to tell is amazing, and she has such great energy. I don't want you guys to miss it. So if you can hit the subscribe, we will be on our Survivor Girl podcast platform. So that will be happening.
Yes.
We are doing it a little bit earlier because of Easter coming up. We don't want anybody to miss out on that. We got a lot of stuff going on. So please check that out. We want to give her as much love as possible as she tells her story. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some stuff that we've got going on. And as always with the chat, we absolutely love your guys' comments. Keep them coming. We want you to be involved just as much. So I'm hoping that, when we're on the mics and we're talking, that we at least, like I said, touch one life.
Yes.
That is the whole reason behind doing this podcast, is to let you guys know that you're not alone. That even though we all go through different things, we survive and thrive through different things, but you're not alone. And that's the important thing.
And if any of our listeners see any memes that they think would be appropriate for us to share on our page, please go ahead and send those to us as well, because we would be happy to post them.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been posting up some positive stuff on our pages and trying to keep it, positive and keep everybody going. And that's the direction I'd like to see us keep going. So if you guys have any quotes or anything that you want to share, let us know. We'd love to have that. So we appreciate it. Stone Cottage says thriving survivor of the week/month. I love that.
I love that too. Yes.
I love it. Thank you, Chrissy. We will definitely
and we actually will be seeing Chrissy on the 13th when we do our soap making class.
Heck yeah. We get to go to Stone Cottage Farms. You guys, they are amazing.
They are.
Love them.
And their soap is
amazing. Equally, because it's made with love.
Yes.
Everything.
That's the first ingredient on that.
Let me just say, one of the reasons that we absolutely adore Chrissy and Dave over at Stone Cottage Farm is because of the love and the things that they do. They are great people. They're down to earth, and right there, that's the group I love to run with.
Yes,
those people are the people I love to run with, because we keep each other in check, and we keep each other, just keep each other going. It's awesome.
Yes,
I got a couple more things. Megan says, can't wait for the next one. This was great. Thank you, Megan. We appreciate you joining us. Jeremy says, Survivor Girl Power, you go girls. And Sasha says, Becky, you did great. So,
thank you, Sasha.
Oh, and Megan, I got lots of memes I can send, I am sure. We are looking
forward to it.
We are glad that you guys are fans already. And if you guys like what we're doing and you're behind us and you want to share, put us out there. We appreciate the shares and the subscribes, and
the likes
and the love. And we definitely do appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
Go ahead and share us, and we will be reposting this for the Survivor Girl platform. It is currently being recorded and will be put over onto the proper platform. Thank you to our producer, Nate, as well. And we're grateful and thankful that you guys are with us. So we got a lot more things coming, guys. Honestly, we've got a lot of stuff coming for Survivor Girl. If you know somebody that needs this on their Sunday nights, tag them.
Yes,
you guys have questions. Like Becky said in the beginning, we are not doctors, we're not therapists or anything like that, but we're real people that are surviving and thriving.
And if you have any questions about anything that you've heard about the stories, please go ahead and send us those questions as well.
Yeah,
I know I would be happy to answer them.
Absolutely. And I'm with Becky on that. We are, like I said, we're just real people.
Yes, we are
We're just real people that have gone through some crazy storms.
Yes.
And we are going to continue to talk about more of that on our next episode. Well, our next episode, we'll be having Crystal LaFay. And then after that, our episode together, we will be talking about more of what we've been through, because as much as I'd like to say that that's it, that's not just really the beginning.
That's just like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. So we are going to be sharing more of that. So you guys, thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you.
And
as always, you have the choice to choose to be better or bitter, and I hope that everyone chooses better.
And guys, life is best lived. Absolutely. So you guys, thanks for tuning in and joining us on our first episode of Survivor Girl Podcast.